Okay, I guess I'll make another video in portrait mode so you can see my whole face. But yeah, this is gonna be, I guess, my Colombian journey, part two. So I'm just gonna take a walk here, and this is Boston, by the way, or Somerville, whatever, near my house. Anyway, so I just want to make a quick video of, hopefully quick, of my second part of my Colombian journey. So I think where I left off was going to Mexico, coming back, and experiencing part two. So basically, there's not much to say about the first month when I came back. It was a very depressing month. I basically came back. Well, I guess there's a fair amount that happened, but yeah, I basically came back and I brought brought some more gear. I brought like a tent for mosquitoes that I could set up like on my Airbnb. I also brought like a switch, and I basically had to rush back. I mean, I spent a month here in Boston to go visit some friends and family, and I might have visited a couple friends like one time. Luckily, I have different friend groups, so I can kind of like put them in queues. So it wasn't too bad. I went snowboarding or something, and yeah, got to see my family, and then just headed straight back to Colombia. And when I went back to Colombia, the girl that I was seeing, first off, it was hard to get back in because the whole COVID restriction. I still don't have the COVID vaccine or anything. I just totally ignored it. I'm still healthy and strong, I want to say, but yeah, it was difficult to get back into Colombia because they required some COVID vaccine or whatever. And get a better portrait. So yeah, so once I came back to Colombia, I basically was kind of like stunned. I was like, why did I? It was like a repeat, right? Like the same airport I came to. Like I got dropped off. I would try to go to the same. In the first day, I tried to go to the same hotel that I went to on my first journey, and it was totally booked because it was Christmas time, and the prices were like, I forget, like 2 or 3 times as much. So yeah, it wasn't fun. And then I was like struggling to find like a place to stay, so I started contacting the girl that I spent months with prior, and she responded to me, but she was really not helpful, and I also didn't want to bother her because I wanted to be self-sufficient. So I ultimately just wandered around late at night and finally found a hostel, and then I stayed at the hostel for, I don't know, like $5 or something, but it was a nightmare. And that, I guess, theme continued for quite a while. I remember I was struggling to just find hostels like for the first like week or two, and yeah, the girl that I was seeing pretty much just wasn't hitting me up, so that kind of, just got me in a bit of a sour mood. I think the first time I went, I just spent more money, and it's kind of sucks that you have to spend so much money. And I decided to not spend money and become like a backpacker, like a bunch of the other people who travel and live in hostels. And I saved money, sure, but when you don't buy the Tinder whatever premium, have like an Airbnb that you're paying a little bit too much on, it's just difficult, I guess, even to try to continue an authentic relationship with somebody you spent months with in a relationship. They're not willing to make sacrifices. They're not willing to regress, I guess, to make things like more stable. So I don't know, it taught me a good amount, I guess. But anyway, the first month, I eventually was fed up with buying Airbnbs. I mean, going from hostel to hostel, and they were just so unreliable and inconsistent. I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna pay like $500, $600 just to get a room. And I set that as my price, and $500, $600 for January, Colombia, is not as valuable as, I guess, 200. So I ended up staying in a very crappy Airbnb for like 500, in a part that was close to my girlfriend's, or the girl I spent like months with. Uh, but yeah, it didn't pan out because she basically never hung out with me. So it's just like, you know what? Screw it. If she doesn't want to, I think she did hang out with me, but she basically like was just so focused on her work, and it's like, okay, that's the same issue with pretty much every relationship. Let me just do a panorama of where I am. I like this area because not as many people come here. It's a little bit more isolated. Anyway, so yeah, so basically, yeah, so that kind of gave me a sour impression. And then after that, I just started dating around on Tinder and stuff. I don't know, had a couple small relationships, like a fling or whatever, and I'm trying to think. I honestly don't even remember it too well, but I don't think I had much success, and I just felt like burnt out. I remember a girl that looked exactly like the girl I had spent a lot of time with was like in my Airbnb host, and yeah, it was weird because she has like a positive energy and vibe about her, but I'm just like, man, this is just a repeat. Like, she had the same Paisa look or whatever, and she was very like loving and compassionate. And I was just like, man, but I need to heal. I needed time to heal, and even in that moment, I was starting to remember my ex from 4 years and stuff, and it was a dark moment. And I remember just like doing my best. Like, I was still working on individual institute, like in terms of coding the website and stuff, and going to the gym and just trying to continue to hustle and work it through. But it was dark, and then I was like, you know what? I can't take it anymore. Like, after 1 month, once my lease was up, I was like, all right, I need to switch things up. And I remember the girl I had spent months with, the Paisa girl, she talked about Bucaramanga being basically like Colombia, Medellin, in terms of weather and stuff. And I decided, all right, I'm gonna go to Bucaramanga, because after my research, I was like, you know what, maybe it will be a better version of Colombia. So I went there, and I remember I spent like a day going there, and basically I was at the airport, like coding, like at the airport and stuff, and just like got on my plane, went there, went straight to my Airbnb. The first Airbnb I had, I stayed there for like 3 months. But the area itself in Bucaramanga kind of depressed me. The Airbnb I found was great because I spent a lot of time researching a good one. And then I eventually got a deal with the guy who ran that Airbnb. And anyway, I stayed there for 3 months. I was immediately disappointed because they didn't have like the same infrastructure as Medellin. So I guess Medellin is technically like the best place in all of Colombia to stay. But even Medellin, I remember the first time I went back the second time, or sorry, yeah, whatever, you know what I'm saying. When I went back the second time, basically I got the impression that like, and I probably recorded some videos too, but it was just, it was basic. Like, after coming here and seeing like the United States, like just even looking in the distance, I would think to myself like, man, there's just so many trees and it's so like unexplored. There's just so much wilderness, and here's like this city, and you can't really even see it because it's like not taking up that much space. Like, when you're taking that bus ride into Medellin for the first time, it's just like there's so much unexplored area, and it kind of sucked because I remember I was just thinking like, man, what if I could camp and like live free and cheap or something? And I don't know what I was thinking, but I don't know. I wanted to unplug and like live free, I guess. Get a motorcycle and get a tent or something, and just live out there because the weather's perfect. So why not? But obviously, it's not a wise decision. And yeah, but basically, when I came to Bucaramanga, I got the sense that it was even smaller. Like, the city itself is actually quite small. And I remember just seeing the Google Maps and putting things into a relative perspective, and I could like walk from one end to the other of Bucaramanga. And I think I have like a video if you check my logs of like the cost of living and stuff. And yeah, Bucaramanga was great. It took a while to like get myself accustomed to it, and I think in the first month I was yeah, I was just trying to, man, I don't even remember. Like, I think in the first month I actually had a good time. Um, but yeah, I remember I met a girl. I just put my Tinder profile up and I started to just play Smash from my like hotel room, and I didn't go to a gym. I just worked out outside and stuff. And this is like month two. Month two is much better because I was Bucaramanga. And oh yeah, I also bought like a pair of shoes. Ugh, I remember this whole shoe story where I bought a pair of shoes in Medellin that didn't fit, and then I go to Bucaramanga. It's like the shoe capital of Colombia. Basically, it had all these imports from, because it's basically like an import destination, and had a bunch of imports from shoes. And anyway, long story short, I bought expensive shoes. I ended up giving them to some homeless guy, and I bought these pairs of shoes for like $50 USD. Not too bad. I mean, whatever. Probably paid a bit of a higher price, but because I'm a foreigner, but overall not too bad. And then yeah, so I set up my Tinder and I started meeting girls left and right. Had a weird experience though. Like the first girl or second girl, I forget which, but basically was with like a 19-year-old girl. We went to like a Jesus statue. I thought it was a nice time. It's a good experience for sure. I think she had a good time. We did sleep together, and that was it. It was a short-term thing. Whatever. It's probably vapid or whatever. It wasn't building towards anything, but I don't know. I'd rather like not settle down right now in my life, so it kind of works out. Maybe it is a good thing. Who knows, right? So anyway, then I met another girl, and I also went to Smash tournaments and stuff. And yeah, basically the second girl that I met, she was wild. I'll just say that. I can't talk about it too much because it's just such a crazy story. And I need to be careful about what I say on YouTube. I can't say like literally everything, but yeah. So there was some S star characters jacking involved, and I don't know. She was a weird girl. Like she like had like colored hair, tattoos and stuff, but she was really into like white or like rock music, or I don't even know what the like what is the term. It's like white guy music that's like guitars and stuff, and like, man, I don't even know the term. Like Blink 182 type of music, whatever that type of music is. She would listen to that all the time, and smoke weed and stuff. And yeah, I guess she saw me as like some like foreigner guy. Probably reminded her of all the music, and yeah, she probably realized like I was somewhat wealthy, so she tried to like S-jack me or whatever. And then when she tried to do that, I was just like taken aback, and basically never met after that. But we chatted for a little while after, but it never went anywhere. But that was a fun experience because that was the first time I had been with a girl like that who was just that crazy. So it was like refreshing in a way. And then, oh, it's also getting dark here. Might have to wrap up my story. Then I started just seeing girl after girl, and yeah, I had like a situation where I had like 6 girls in a week period. So that obviously boosted my confidence. And it was like a shock to my system, you know, because being here in United States, it's just depressing. Like and I still feel this depression. It's like, you know, there's just like this lock on the chances of talking to women. I mean, I even signed up for like Facebook dating here. I'm like super like not into swiping because I think it's just a waste of time on average. So it took me like at least 2 or 3 months to even start wanting to swipe on on Facebook dating or whatever. And even the girl I met here, it's like she's overweight. Like I'm literally trying to concentrate on her, give her calls, talk for like 2-3 hours, and she doesn't even want to meet for like coffee because she's working all the time. It's like, give me a break. That's what literally every single girl here is doing. They're just working all the time. They're trying to focus on their careers, blah blah blah. It's like, how do you start a family if your focus and time and attention and actual energy is being spent on your career or whatever? And even yesterday, it's like talking to my friend, and it's like he's having the same issue. And here he is, like getting like 4 mortgages to pay for like his condo, and it's just like, I don't know. It's not the way to live, I don't think. So yeah, it's weird because we have all this wealth. Like there's this like Encore building, and it's like it's not enough. It's just like never enough. It's like rent's due, I guess. So we got to keep working, and now that we're split, we got to work even harder, and we're just gonna keep the cycle going and going until things just crash, right? So it's crazy. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but all right. So going back to my story, yeah, I had basically slept with a lot of girls, and it was great. I was just in that Colombian hotel, or sorry, Airbnb, paying like $500 a month. I would like order Rappies, which would be like $20 a meal at most. On average, I was probably spending like $10 a meal. Sometimes I'd cook my own food when girls weren't around. And when girls weren't around, I would just work out, play video games, watch Twitch or something, work on my individual institute. And then I just kind of kept that going for a little while. I think I met like, I don't know, 8 or 12 different girls. I started, I think some of the girls, you know, I failed. Like maybe 1/3 of the girls or something, things didn't go anywhere. Probably even less than that. It's probably like 10% of the girls. So I had really good odds. And by didn't go anywhere, I mean we didn't sleep together or something, which might actually be a good thing. But it made me realize, like, okay, what am I doing wrong with certain girls that I can't sleep with them? And then I feel like I boosted my my whatever dating game or something like that. But you can't even do that here because you can't even meet girls here. So it's like your dating skills totally deteriorate. But I had a really good like verbal game, I guess. So that was fun. So I just felt like I was leveling up, and sure, maybe none of those girls were as hot as the original girl I was with, the Paisa, because Paisas are just, I don't know, pretty exceptional beauty, I guess. But anyway, I eventually, after going through like girl after girl, some of these girls were low quality, but not low quality, but way better, higher quality than the girls here. But still, like I couldn't envision myself like wanting to spend the rest of my life with some of these girls. But you know, it's just a fun experience. I needed a shock to my system. Like being back in America, it's just depressing. Too much time alone, too much time in front of screens, too much COVID bullshit, and too many people not wanting to just hang out and be humans because they're too worried about hustling in their own life or something. I don't know, or being lazy or not having energy, needing a recharge, so they're not able to hang out. So, or they just have too many friends. Like we're all on Facebook and stuff. It's like, sorry, I just hung out with this other friend group, and I'm probably the same way. So who knows? But yeah. So anyway, after I had been with a fair amount of girls, I eventually found like, what I'll say, girl number 2, the long-term girl number 2 in Colombia, who I stayed with like for 2 months, and we still talk. She's great, so I'm not going to say too much, because she has been watching my YouTube and stuff, and yeah, she probably can understand English, so I'm not sure if she's going to watch all of my videos or whatever, but yeah, so that's going, and then that's pretty much all I can say, I guess. So we spent like 2 months together, and had a good time, and yeah, Now that I'm back in the United States, though, it's like, I don't know. I remember, sorry, I'm kind of skipping the story, but when we spent time together, I stayed with her. Like, I feel like any girl, I sleep in her bed. Like, that's, like, get to spend quality time with her and just chat. Like, we chat a lot. Uh, that's good feelings. Even if it was only for 2 months, it's still 2 or 3 months, whatever length was. It was still like such a great experience. But yeah, so I stayed with her like after my Airbnb ended because we planned a trip to Santa Marta, because after Santa Marta she was gonna go study in like Medellin or something like that for her work, and she was not working at the time. So because she wasn't working, it was like heaven, because the girl would actually spend time with me. Like, I would just work my 8 hours a day of work, whatever, and then as soon as that was over, we would just go to bar, go to at like the university that she just graduated from, and just go work out or something, or go run around. And yeah, and then I think we also for like a long weekend or something, we went to some town nearby, and I have some videos of that, like on a cliff or something, some fantastic views. It was in a coffee shop or something. Such a good time. I need to get the location of wherever we went, but it's like outside of Bucaramanga, so it was even less of a town. I mean, it was a town that had infrastructure, you could like buy a home and stuff, but there wasn't too much over there. But it was just like so naturally beautiful and stuff that it was definitely noteworthy. And oh yeah, we also went camping. I have some videos of that. And yeah, just had a great time overall. So I don't know what else to say, really. After that was done, we went to Santa Marta. We went to the coastal area, and we spent some time there. I got set up, met some good people. I got accustomed to my Airbnb number 2, and I remember my Airbnb number 2, I would just like submit code for the day, and then I would just unplug. And there was days where I didn't talk to anybody, and those days were amazing, because I would just do my code, I would submit it, PR would be up, and that would be it. And I just thought like to myself, like, man, this has to be the future, or my future, just submitting code, getting paid, unplugging, having like a beautiful area around me, because the Airbnb was like very natural. It had like turtles and stuff. And yeah, after I was done with work, I would just like go cook myself food, go to the beach. I think I swam, touched like some One Piece boat with like a flag on it, like the One Piece logo. Yeah, it's really far out and stuff. And yeah, Santa Marta was amazing. But then I wanted to go to Cartagena because I need to start planning my trip back to the United States, and I only had like a few months left until I hit my federal earned income exclusion limit. So it was also my birthday and stuff while I was in Cartagena. So I go to Cartagena, and I just want to have a good time. I heard it was like a prostitute city of the world or something like that, and I try to go on Tinder and stuff just to see what it's like, and it literally is prostitute after prostitute. And I had a bad experience because I basically had like met a prostitute, and she was just like a bad person, but she like tricked me, and for a while I was just scoping up prostitutes like left and right, because I didn't really believe in it. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to even go with the prostitute. Something about it's just like not rubbing me right. It's like a lot of these girls would just take your money and then leave you, and not really provide any services or anything like that. And then they just extract your money and pretty much bounce as soon as they could. And for a large part that is true. And I basically had a good birthday where I didn't engage in any vices, pretty much. I just got this massage, just did natural things to the beach, had a good time. It was kind of sucky because I'm very like I like to talk to people. I guess that's a good day for me, just when I could talk to a girl I'm with or whatever, or even a friend, or just talk to people, So I mean, I did talk to people during that day, just like strangers I've met, so that was great. And but it was just simple conversations, and I got my massage and stuff, but felt kind of lonely. And then Later, I switched up in the city and I went to a different part of the city, more towards like the eastern side of the islands. 'Cause that's where I originally thought I wanted to go. I also met some weird guy who was like an American but homeless or something because he got deported because he like stole cars or something, and he was like addicted to drugs. But he was a good guy. It's just one of those people that they're draining you of your energy, and they don't even realize they're draining you, which is the sad part. So you can't hang around with them too much. And yeah, had a good time. He kind of reminded me of like my brother in some ways, but probably on a different level actually. Because at least with the brother, it's like he's your brother. You know, he's going to be part of your life. But with the random guy, it's like, hey man, I know you want attention because you hardly get attention. You don't have anyone to talk to, but this is not. I'm not the long-term person. Like I gotta go on my own journey here. Go back to the United States. And anyway, so yeah, so basically I went to this other part, and then I found like a good setup, I guess. I also went to like the beach, and I have the story of like some cops trying to like what's the word, bribe me for just being a foreigner and being like at the beach at nighttime or something like that, swimming at night. So I want to pay like $900 or something, which I didn't do because there's no paperwork and stuff. But it was just a funny story. And then I remember listening to audiobooks and stuff. Had a good time overall. And then I also found like the second prostitute who was just a normal prostitute. She was nice, and I don't know, we spent like probably half an hour together in total length of time, $50, and that was a good time. And that kind of refreshed me, so to speak. And then I think like a day or two after that, I was back to the United States. So definitely an interesting time. I think you know, it was kind of weird because once I came back to the United States, I finally paid the federal earned income exclusion, and I also had paid, or I got money from that apparently. So I saved like $6,000 or something like that total. But then this year as well, I'll save another $6,000 for the time I spent out. So in total, like $12,000 for my whole Colombian trip. So $12,000 actually, or no, sorry, yeah, $12,000. So that's actually a good chunk of change. That could kind of pay for the Airbnbs themselves. So I might consider keeping doing that, but I mean, it's definitely a factor. It definitely helps pay into traveling abroad, and it's nice to get a sense that you are being compensated for the time you're abroad. But I don't know if I'll get the whole 12,000 next time. I don't know how they calculated that. And it also sucks that you have to be outside for like a year, because the whole time I was gone, I was thinking like, oh man, I'm letting time pass. Like, I don't know, more time I can't like reach back to my ex and stuff. And now I tried to reach back to my ex and just radio silence. And then I also finally finalized the IRS burden I had. So it's all said and done basically. IRS has finally amended all my tax returns, gave me my money, told me what I owed, and I ended up paying them like $200K plus in total, 200, probably $50K, and that money would be nice right now, but what am I gonna do? I should have like not reported it and just like been like any other rational person, but here I was trying to play like the moral high ground, and I realized the world doesn't care about you. The IRS and the government literally just look at paperwork, pretty much, unless like you're a very wealthy individual where you have like millions to actually get proper law in order. And if you don't have like millions of dollars, and they don't give a shit about you, so you should just go under the table. But unfortunately I didn't do that, so I tried to be as transparent as I could be, even though nobody would have known. Like, I could have lived my life 250K richer, probably, and nobody would have really known. Obviously it would be hard to live that way because I would always have it in my mind that I didn't report that money, so I guess it is what it is. But I'm surprised that it's done, and I'm surviving, and I not thriving as much as I thought I should be, but I am hanging in there and I am thriving somewhat. So, and I think if I keep at it, I'll keep thriving, thrive more and more, and get back to where I could have enough money to be like, hey, I should start a family or something, or not. Maybe if the family's out of the equation. I think this morning I spent some time to jot down or my visions of like where I envision my life to be, and a lot of that was like saving my money and reading scripture and getting closer to God and praying and stuff, and starting a family, but also playing video games and stuff. And I also like realized like working 2 jobs is not a good long term, so I can't continue to do that for too long. And I need like more authenticity in my life, so that's what I'm going to be going after. And I think I was also doing calculations of like costs to different countries, and I was also like factoring in like where I could start a family, where I couldn't. And it was interesting because I feel like ultimately Colombia is not a place to start a family. It's a place to pass time. It's more likely that you could start a family there than anywhere else, like in the United States and stuff, but I think the ultimate place would be the Philippines. I'm not 100% sure on that though. But yeah, I remember the other day I was just thinking about laws. Actually, one time I was actually trying to sleep outside, see if I could like fall asleep outside. This is like months ago, in actually this area somewhat. Just like found a spot where I could like camp, and distance. And yeah, basically I learned a good lesson from that, and that lesson was that I basically need to ask permission from other people to be able to live and thrive, or I need to at least deal with other people. And also I feel like other people, they don't struggle, or they haven't struggled in life as much as I have, or not struggled, but like gone through as much suffering, or like getting hit hard or getting hit down. So it's kind of made me realize like, hey, I'm not gonna get in those areas. I'm only gonna step into areas like if other people can live less like lifestyle where they don't like they're getting paid a lot or whatever, and they're hardly working and they're stress free, I'm gonna live that life as well. I'm not gonna get beaten down. And I feel like I'm a wise person, so